Hi guys, welcome back to OffBrand with OnBrand.
Podcast where we talk about business, branding, motherhood, and the messy moments in between. Those are my favorite. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to OffBrand with OnBrand. Today we have my Grandma Diane on the podcast. Diane is a psychotherapist who has been practicing for over 20 years. She is currently the in-house therapist for the Morris Eye Franco Cancer Center and leads support groups for widows in the Sephardic Community Center. Diane started the original Women's Center in the SCC in the 90s, holding symposiums on nutrition, health, psychology, and parenting. We are so inspired by this conversation about how Diane went back to school after having all her kids. We talk about perfectionism, mental health, and so much more. We can't wait for you guys to listen.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi.
Thank you for
Hi,
coming,
girls.
Grandma.
Florence, thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
When Florence asks for something, I could never say no
Love you.
because she's the best. I shouldn't say she's the best because then my other grandkids are going to say
No,
no.
say it, guys.
but
I'm
yeah.
the best.
Right now, in this moment, she's great.
I love you.
I love it.
So, Grandma, everyone who doesn't know you, please tell us a little bit about yourself. You have so much wisdom and so much a part of your journey to share. I feel like everyone's going to learn something from it. So you could tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your childhood, and how it shaped you to who you are today.
My mother, let me start from the beginning. I really wasn't meant to be here. My mother had me as an accident, and she was almost 50 years old. What? Yep. She had 8 other children, and the last one was almost 15, I think, when my mother got pregnant with me.
Wow.
That's a miracle.
She did find out when she was, I don't know, maybe in her 6th month or so. She thought she was maybe 6. She had a
Wait,
stomach
6
thing.
months?
Yes.
Oh, my
insane.
God.
Yeah, she had, a
didn't know
stomach
that.
ache, so she went to the doctor, Dr. Robbins at the time his name was. He was a doctor. She went, she says, I don't know, I don't feel good,
Because who would think?
Took all kinds of tests. He goes, Mrs. Gindy, you're pregnant. And she whacked him across the face, and she couldn't do anything about it. It was
Yeah.
too late.
That's how
But so that was the beginning of the end anyway. So the beginning of the beginning, I should say. So she had me, and I was number 9, and I had 8 siblings older than me. I had 4 brothers, Jack, Nat, Joe, and Izzy. My maiden name is Gindy. 4 sisters, and I was the 5th. Molly, Sarah, Maggie, and Evelyn.
What was it like being the youngest of all the
God bless your
siblings?
mother.
It was amazing. I really had a very, now that I think about it and I'm older and wiser, I had a very, very rich life. I had a rich life, not monetarily, rich in quality. My brothers and sisters, I didn't grow up with. I grew up as an only child, I would say. And so I didn't have that much in common with my brothers because they were working. They all had wives and families. But my sisters were like my mothers. So I had my mother, and then I had 4 more mothers.
Wow.
And really, I was very close to each and every one of them. And there was no sibling rivalry. I didn't really know from sibling rivalry
That's kind of nice.
because I didn't have anyone to rival against,
And everybody was just loving you. You were the
yeah, I
possession.
was really blessed. So my brothers and sisters were just amazing. They were very close. My mother, she really was such a hard worker, and everybody knew her as Grandma Gindy. Everybody knew her. In fact, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I grew up at 452 Avenue S. That was my address. 452 was my number and was all of our numbers. So whenever 452 comes up on the clock, on the digital clock, or I'm behind a car and I see 452 on the license, or one day I was in the mall and I turn around to see where my car was, I see 452 on the license. Actually, it was 452 Ma.
That's
No
crazy.
way.
It was.
That's the universe.
It was I was wild. I called up everyone. I took a picture. I sent it to everyone. It was wild. It was such a connection. That number is the whole family's connection to our parents and grandparents.
I love that.
You ask any one of my nieces, nephews, my kids, they use it as a password 452. I said, that's my password.
That's unreal.
Getting back to my family. So my mother never drove. She was uneducated as far as schooling. My father was educated. They came from Syria, a very good business, Royal Mills. It was bedspreads at the time. My father was, I'm not going to say wealth. I don't know what I should call it. He was a wealthy man. But we never knew from that. Never. I thought I was poor, to be honest with you. I really did. I never knew we never knew from money, from from cars, from clothes. We always looked fine. We did everything. We had everything, but we never thought about it. We learned to be very humble.
I love
Love
that.
that.
We learned to be so humble from my father. My mother was a more of a jokester, like, you know, my mother liked to socialize and all, but my father was humble. He was shy. You know, you couldn't really, my brothers couldn't buy a fancy car like a Lincoln Continental was out of the question. They could never, you know, they had to be very low.
So do you
I
think
love that.
that's such a value that was brought from Syria, or was more like just your father's value?
I think it was the culture at that time, you know. I think that people came here as immigrants and they struggled, you know, they worked hard and they struggled, and that's how they became successful, you know.
And it wasn't about showing it off.
It
was
wasn't
just
about-
doing for your family and keeping
That's
your head
it.
down.
Yeah, you wanted to keep
That's
your
it.
head down. You just left Syria. You didn't want to be all flamboyant here. Like, you're probably traumatized.
It was just, they were very respectful. They were very respectful, my brothers and sisters. And I was the youngest, so I got away with murder a little bit, but I wasn't spoiled. They all said I was spoiled. I was not spoiled. I'm going to tell you the truth. But I was a little bossy, you know.
Oh my God, maybe it's a Diane
I think it's a Diane thing.
Wait,
I
I think
was
we
a
have to
little
have that in
bossy.
common.
I had to take care of them.
Yeah, later in
Yeah.
life especially. So
take care of
your
them.
sisters took care of you when you were little. Then later in life, since you were the youngest, you took care of your
All
sibling.
of them I took care of. I asked my nieces and nephew. I took care of all of them. And thank God, Baruch Hashem, I still have one sister. She's in her 90s, but I still take care of
Yeah,
her.
and they all love
And
you.
I keep telling her, you better hang out, you better hang out, you better stick it out, you know. So we left.
Something that
But-
inspired me
Yeah.
when I was by your house like a few weeks ago, your sister walked in the door. You jumped up. You were so happy to see her. And I was like, that's so nice.
I'm going to cry.
and
You're going to
special.
make me cry. But anyway, yeah.
It's so
It is
special.
And also,
It's
that was
true.
your role, it sounds
Yeah.
like, especially with how you said you were born, where it was like an accident or, you know, fate, so that you maybe could have this role for your brothers and sisters. So that's so special.
That was the role that I took in my family of origin. Since I was the youngest and I was the only one in the house, I worried. You know, it was a big house, and I worried. You know, my parents didn't shut the shades. I have to make sure the door's locked. You know.
You grew up
Otherwise,
very
it's-
quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't stand, even to this day. I have to shut the shades as soon as it starts getting dark. Those shades are shut. It's because I was a child.
And then you got
I
married
never
right
felt
away.
like a child, but I always felt young, like the youngest.
Yeah.
Like I'm old now, and I don't really feel old. I feel still like the youngest.
Love that.
You're still taking
You
care
know
of
what I'm saying?
your siblings and
Young
So,
soul.
and
yeah.
thank God you have
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
rest.
So I think
Thank God.
we could shift the conversation a little bit to
Okay.
when you could tell Diane a little bit about when you got married, you raised your kids, and then your decision about going back to school,
Okay.
I'm fascinated.
which was
Okay.
so cool at the time. So walk us through
It wasn't
that.
so cool, but whatever. You know.
So we want to
Yeah.
hear about that.
Yeah.
I
So
want to know if it
so
was controversial.
I got married at 17. I was still in high school.
Oh Lord.
The rush, I don't know where the fire was, but I had to graduate in January. It was a must. I had to take my regents. I had to graduate in January, not June, because I had to get married.
Wow.
I was young. It was
was the
young.
times,
I was
but it
really
was
young. I
definitely
was.
Were you
one
if
of
I
the
tell you,
youngest?
I was young. I really got lucky because I married a wonderful man that had a lot of patience.
Thank God.
You know, it's funny because my husband asked me, you know, do you want to get married? I actually, he'll tell you. I had to ask my mother and father. You know, so that's how young I was.
That's so funny.
Like you needed them to come with you to the court and like be the
Yeah,
legal
they
guardian on
did.
your signature.
They did. Yeah, because
is
I was
wild.
I was.
But were your friends also getting married that young, or you were one of the youngest?
My friends were all getting married. We got married all together. But my friends had different history than I did. You know, they had siblings, had more experience. You know, I didn't have that history.
You were a baby.
And your parents were probably older. They just wanted to have you settled and taken care of.
Yeah,
And like,
settled.
you know.
And I used to babysit for my sister. And
Right.
my father used
Yeah.
to say, well, we need a babysitter, you know. So it was like, okay.
Okay, you're like, okay, could I have my own life
So,
back?
you know, so that's Jewish guilt. But whatever. No, he that's because he
Yeah,
loved me.
we're all team
That's
players.
because he
I
loved
get it.
me. I loved school. Why did I love school? Because it was like a family. I used to, you know, go and it was people, noise. It was a family. And I connected. I always connected with people, thank God. But yeah, I always loved that. I got married at 17. I told my mother I want to go to college. She says, absolutely not. You're getting married. So I did. I listened, of course. And I did. I'm not sorry about that, God forbid. I had a wonderful life. So we got married, and it was only the best. You know, my in-laws, when we first got married, couldn't really afford that much. They gave us everything. We had the best apartment. We had the best of everything. But still, it was done low key. There was nothing to show off. We never knew from that.
You were just
we
content
just
with what it
respected
was.
We were content. We were happy. We were content with what we had.
Yeah, the bar wasn't.
I love that.
No,
The
there was
bar
no
was
bar.
was regular. There was no
Yeah,
bar.
no bar. There was no bar.
Not everybody was comparing to each other. What did
No.
you have? What's
Not
your
that
shirt
kind of
label?
anxiety, not that kind of pressure. No. That was
Sounds
a
like a nice
very
time.
good thing.
It's
I was
very
very
nice.
fortunate and blessed to be born at that time and to always have good friends. And my friends were very important to me. And
They all went on their honeymoons together.
Shirley got married March 3rd, Terry March 7th, and me March 9th.
So fun.
That's unreal.
And we all went to Acapulco. So
I
it was
love
fun.
this.
It was fun. It was fun. It was simple life. No, not complicated. Simple life.
And just everybody was happy for each other, which
we
I
were
also
happy.
think was so nice.
We were young. We were happy. We didn't need
You weren't
much.
looking,
we
you
didn't
know, for
need
more.
much. We
Yeah.
had everything. I had my 4 kids. I was home with them. My son Sammy was in Flatbush High School. He was a senior or junior. And, you know, they had college counselors at the time. So Jill Sanders was
Jill Sanders.
was in
She was still there,
Flatbush.
yeah.
No,
She
she's
was there
not
when
there
I was there.
anymore, but we got very friendly, and I said, Jill, I want to go back to school. You know, she says, all right, I'll help you. So she did. She helped me.
Jill.
We got into FIT, 2 courses at a time, 2
How
classes.
old were you when this was happening?
I was in my 30s.
Wow.
I was in
and
my
you were going to the
30s. You
city?
had 4 kids. One of them was in high school.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I got
God bless
married at
you.
17.
and
Yeah.
then you're like, I want to go to college.
I did. I had a great social life. My friends were my friends and still are my friends. You know, we were in leagues. We played tennis. We played cards a little. But there was something missing in my life. Not everyone. Nobody. I mean, everyone was very content. There was something missing in my life. I had a calling, and I said, I don't know what it is, but let me try school. I always wanted to go back to college. So that's when I got friendly with Jill, and we got in. She helped me get into FIT. I took buying and merchandising. Why? Because the classes were a good time for me.
What time?
I used to go
Middle of the day, probably.
Yeah, midday.
Wow.
And I used to meet Grandpa for lunch.
Cute. So you would
cute.
send your kids to
This is unreal.
school
Huh?
Like you had a
and jump on.
second
You
life.
jumped the
Yeah,
train, or
yeah.
you would drive.
No,
like
I didn't take the train. I was spoiled in that way. I took my car.
too.
It's fine. I
And we
take the
parked
Okay,
in
we
the
can't do
parking lot for $8.
$8.
And we went to FIT,
get $8.
8th Avenue.
Wow,
And
good
it
for
was
you,
great.
Grandma.
It was great. It was so much. And I was the oldest one in the class. It was like fun.
You
It
were
was
so
fun. It
cool.
was so fun.
And then you got to have
so
lunch at the
I
city.
took this math, business math. Who knew business math? I didn't know 1 and 1 is 2. I didn't know.
Me either.
And I failed the first test. I got a 33. I said, oh, gosh, I'm going to fail this course. So I spoke to the teacher. She says, if you want, I'll tutor you. So I said, yeah. So I went for, she tutored me after school. I stayed. I tutored. And I ended up getting a 99 on
Wow.
the final.
Incredible.
I love that.
Also, like,
I don't remember one thing about the class, not
cares?
one. But
When you back up,
I remember the
You
experience.
had kids. Your
Yeah.
kids were coming home from school with homework. You were getting tutored.
Yes,
You had your own homework.
It was great.
Was Grandpa
It was fun.
supportive about you going back to
Grandpa,
school?
he really was. He was very supportive. He was happy for me because I was happy. I didn't lose my friends ever.
How?
Ever. I always, my friends and family, I have to tell you, were my family and friends were priority in my whole life. That's my priority. But then, you also, as a human, as a woman, you want to have interests also. I used to think, and I used to say, ooh, this is what really pushed me a lot. Oh, when I get older and my kids are all married, I don't want to be sitting on the couch waiting for someone to ring my bell. I didn't want that. I wanted to have interests. And so that's why I pursued it. And then I loved it. Because you never know in life, you start one thing and then it opens the door to I don't know what. Yeah, that's life anyway, no?
Yeah.
So I started going to school, and then it opened. Then I met people, and it just opens your life up. I stepped out of the community in a way, because nobody
This was
was
not
doing
something
that.
common people
Nobody
were doing.
was doing that. And my brother, he goes, "What do you? I don't understand. What are you
Stay
going
home
to
and
be?
make
What are you going to
Hispanic."
be?"
I
I
know.
said, "I don't know."
Love men.
So, but they were all very proud of me. I had one toe, I should say, not even a foot, a toe out of the community. My foundation, my values were so strong and set that nothing was going to influence me.
Love that.
So it was okay. I was safe. I felt safe. And it was a different world then, but I still felt safe. So if you have a strong foundation and your values are clear, then you're okay. And that has to do with your upbringing, with your mom and your father and your family life, the security and knowing that mommy's always there for me. It's very important. Sometimes we think, oh, it doesn't matter, but it does. It does. Even if you're doing nothing in the next room, it matters that you're home. Once in a while, my mother wasn't home, and I would walk in the house and it was empty, and I didn't like that feeling. So, that's something that I believe in. I do believe in, I do believe in learning and, making a life and having interests and going out of the box. I believe in that. But we need to know where we belong and where our roots are. And we could always come home to that.
Yeah.
Which is
so
great.
true. I love
Which is
that.
great. It's
Also,
great.
you were so lucky that I guess you had an early start, because then when you were still your 30s, you were still very young when you went back to school and had this whole life. But you did you were there for the dog years with the kids and and the pickups and the drop-offs and they came home and the homework.
Yes.
So you didn't have to fight that passion. Do I give to myself? Do I give to my
True.
kids?
True.
You kind of had that done and out of the way so that you were able to give 100% when it was the time.
Right. That's
Also-
very true. But I started at the back and backwards. I did as far as career-wise, So I had my kids first, and then I went to school. I could have went to school and then had my kids, but no, thank God for that.
Also, you went to FIT, and then you went to
Oh, yeah,
NYU
I forgot about that. Yeah,
with my
okay.
dad.
Yes,
in the
yes.
same
Forgot
class.
about
He
that.
dropped the class because Grandma was in the same.
He probably went to college. He was like, I'm
so
going to
involved with
college.
FIT, but after FIT, I graduated that with the 66 credits I got after 4 years. And I said, okay, now what? I want to try to transfer my credits. Well, all right, I'll try NYU. So I did, and they accepted them, and I went to NYU. That I was there for a long stretch, I have to tell you, because my kids were big. I was marrying them off. I was having my grandchildren, and here I'm in NYU. So that took a long time. But I don't,
With
it
my
didn't
dad.
matter with your father. So I'll tell you a story about your father. So when I was NYU. So we were in the bookstore. He knew I was going to NYU. He passed me by, ignored me. He doesn't want to know his mother's in the same
about to
class.
start
as
his life as
so
a
now we're
person
in the
in the
bookstore,
world.
and I'm online,
Hey, Mom.
and he's two people ahead of me, and he's buying books. I says, "Oh, David, I'm buying the same books." He goes, "You're buying the same books? What class are you in?" I said, "I'm in so-and-so." He goes, "What?" He ran to the registrar to get out of the class. He goes, "What? I'm not going to be in your class." I said, "Okay."
As long
So
as
it was
fun,
funny.
no?
It
You
was
don't have
so
to change,
funny.
but I
I
get
love
it.
that.
It was cute. Yeah, NYU was awesome. I loved it.
What did you go there to study?
I was in the Gallatin division, it's called, because it's a school without walls, which was good for me. I couldn't go to school from, I can't take 6 courses.
Yeah, exactly. You had to be
I couldn't do
flexible.
it. It wasn't practical for me and my lifestyle. So they had a school called Gallatin. I don't know if it's still there. But my major and my interest was art. I always liked art and psychology. So that's how I started with the psychology. And I took many classes in psychology in NYU. Intro to psych. I took a group therapy, which I think is awesome. And it led me to then graduate NYU. And then of course, I wasn't satisfied. So I went on to master's to get my master's.
Wow.
And to Brooklyn College to get my master's. But in between, I have to tell you, there's nothing that I did not experience.
Yep. Tell us all.
Nothing. There's nothing. I went to every seminar and there was no webinar. There was no web. Seminar, and I went to classes. I used to drag my friends, and we used to introduce ourselves in the beginning of the class. Why are you here? And da-da-da. So my friend Barbara used to always say, I'm here because my friend Diane dragged me here. But basically, our literature classes and calligraphy we took.
Wow.
We took the art courses, and it was a lot of fun. And cooking classes, and I don't know.
It's also
lessons.
inspirational because a lot of times now, especially, you feel this pressure. Oh, I have to choose what I want to do, and I have to be successful at it. And you did so many things. You were selling cookies, selling this, going to school, and
True.
it's
Also
just
open to
nice.
learn,
Yeah.
not like knowing you felt unfulfilled. Obviously, not in your personal life, but in just like who you were.
Yes.
And then committing to finding that out. So, and not knowing and
Right.
doing all that
Right.
when it just wasn't the fashion. So
Right.
it took a lot, I'm sure, to say,
So-
I'm going to go against this.
Yeah, you go against the grain. I
Yeah.
was going against the grain. Nobody.
And still
very
cooking
little.
the Rosh Hashanah Shabbats, coming
Yeah,
from
still
FIT
having
and preparing everything
every
beautifully.
Shabbat lunch, everything. Everything's traditional. Nothing. Ask my kids. I don't think anything, and ask my husband. Well, he may say something different, but
Don't you love husbands?
yeah, nothing was really neglected. And don't forget, I had my brothers and sisters.
Yes, that's a very big thing to take on also.
My mother had passed, and then I went to school, so I had an emptiness also in that area. But I had my brothers and sisters, and that filled my life, and I was committed to that.
But it sounds like
for me.
school was the only time for you to like really be about you. Because you were giving to your family, giving to your other family.
Yeah, I was always interested in learning about myself, always, since day one. I wanted to understand what made me tick first. I wanted to understand how to communicate, how to be the best that I could be, the best person, the best mother, the best wife.
I feel that.
Person look, I like to give. I get a lot of pleasure, and I don't need to get anything back. I don't have expectations. When we have expectations, we're doomed to disappointment,
I agree.
which is okay sometimes because it's a feeling, and life has disappointments. You have to understand that everything in life is okay. We're going to be disappointed, we're going to be sad, we're going to be angry, we're going to be lonely, we're going to be everything, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with us. That's what life is. And many people think that, happy all the time, looking happy, positive thinking. Great. I love positive thinking. But what do I do with my negative feelings
true.
too, What do I do with them?
Instead of like
They're part
shoving
of
them out of the way. Yeah.
They're part of the whole
Package.
Thank you.
Do you think that studying psychology affected how you mothered? Because now you have a different...
Yeah, it absolutely affected how I mothered. I did the best that I could when my kids were growing up. But then, many people think, oh, I did my job. I can't do it. I can't,
They're big, I'm done,
they're big. I'm done. Whatever it is. But no, it's not true. They're always watching you. You're always going to be a role model to your children, whether they're 3, whether they're 13, whether they're 33 or 43 or up. Parents will always be role models for their children. I think that they learned a lot, and I was a different mother. But I learned something recently, and I discussed this. I have my private practice, and I do groups. I love group dynamics. I think it's awesome.
So tell us a little bit about that.
I myself was in a group for 15 years. We used to go to the city every Thursday, 12:30. I knew nobody. They were not not
Was
serious.
this like a hidden thing in your schedule? You
It
never
was
told anybody
hidden.
where you
I
went?
loved it. It was hidden. You're right.
How many
And it
people
was
were in
supposed
the
to be
group?
hidden
You weren't
within
telling
the group.
anybody you went to
It
therapy?
Was, maybe there was 8, 10.
An
I was
appointment.
in there 15 years, so people
Yeah.
go, people come. But group is life. The person you are in group is the person you are in life. Because the group is really represents your family. Whatever we were in our family of origin, we're going to be in group and we're going to be outside of group. So if I'm a caretaker, for example, I was a caretaker all my life, my family of origin. I'm going to be very protective in group. And that's going to be what I am outside of group also.
True.
So whatever happens in group happens outside. That's why I love it so much, and I really recommend it, because you learn a lot about yourself. Private practice, private therapy is great. It's one-on-one. You learn a lot about yourself. You're in relationship with another person, with the therapist, and there's a lot you learn and grow from. But group,
You're in a dynamic.
with different people, and each person is different. Each person has different history. One person says something, you have a feeling about it. Do you say? How do you say it? There's a lot in group dynamics, and it's awesome. You start off with one subject, and you don't know where it leads you
Yeah.
to. You
have
end
to
up
feed
in
off
a
the crowd.
totally different, subject. Such is life. Get up in the morning.
You think one
You
thing.
think you're going to go on this errand and that errand and do this and that and the other thing, and sometimes it doesn't work out like that.
It's true.
You don't know where you're gonna end up. Group is life. I have a group now that I do. This group, they have been in existence for 20 years. 20
Every
years.
Thursday for 20
Every
years.
More or less. I mean,
Okay,
not
whatever, holiday,
if there's
whatever.
holiday, if I'm away, or.
But relatively, the group has
The first
gone
time
strong.
this summer I was sick, I canceled it in the morning. They got scared. They said, "What happened?"
Yeah,
They
'cause
thought
you
I
never
was
do
dying,
that.
because I never, ever, ever canceled. 20 years.
That's
Every
unreal.
Thursday. Okay, so I'm in group for many years, and there's this woman in group. Her name was Esty, if I remember. She was a redhead. I don't know. There was something that was uncomfortable. I used to sit near her, and I don't know. I just didn't.
She irked
feel
you.
No, I liked her. And I
Something felt
knew
off.
and I knew she liked me, but there was something that was not right. You know how you feel it in your body, the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Diane's
finally,
very
after
intuitive.
maybe, I don't know, 13 years, I finally had the guts to say something. So I was telling, your talking group, I was telling them about the holidays or whatever, my kids, my this, my that. She was sitting next to me, and all of a sudden she, started talking, and she changed the subject. And I got a little offended, it was dismissed. I said, I need to say something. I don't know what it is, but there's something that I don't feel I feel uncomfortable
Wow, go
about.
you.
And she started to cry. I felt awful. She started to cry. She said, "Diane, no, I really like you so much. And I admire you and I respect you. But when you talk about your family, I don't have anybody. I have no family. I have nobody. And it just, it makes me very lonely." And I said, "Oh, no wonder I was feeling that way." So that taught me a lesson. You never know what another person is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You may think, "Oh, she doesn't like me. Oh, she's mad at me. She's angry what I do." You never know. That was a rude awakening for me. We hugged and we kissed and we were free,
Because there was always something that was.
And I had compassion for her then. I said, "Oh," I melted. I said, "I'm sorry," and I was sensitive to that moving forward. In life, you need to be sensitive. Not everybody is
As
does
good as
what
it
you
looks.
do or has what you have or has the lifestyle that you have.
I really want to ask an important question, because you're saying a lot of things very matter of fact, where you went to school for therapy and psychology and all of these topics. But coming from, our community, therapy is something that, today it's opening up and people are going to therapy. I love therapy. I talk about it all the time. But it was such a stigma back in the day. Like, if you went to therapy, you had severe mental problems, or you were alcoholic, or, something of that nature. So how did you break through that, and in such a time where it just wasn't common?
Many, many years ago, therapy was only for schizophrenics. I didn't look at it that way. I did therapy for me. I wanted to learn about me, because if you know about you, then your relationships will be better. They just will be more satisfying to you,
Totally agree
you know,
to that.
because you know who you are. You know what triggers you. It's not about them. It's about you.
And you could only
It's true.
fix you. So,
And you can only fix
complaining
you.
about somebody else only gets you so far.
So we know blaming is a defense mechanism, or rationalizing, or those things. They're defenses. What are we defending against? Always pain, and fear, because fear is the first emotion that we felt coming out of the womb. How do we know that? Baby starts crying,
Yeah.
Aw.
right?
Traumatizing.
Gets out. He starts crying, scared. He's
Yeah,
in
like
a
what
new
just
world,
happened?
Open world. What was that? I was in a nice, cozy place. What happened?
It's time to leave.
So there you go. So that's a very, very primal, very early on.
Did people think you were like a little crazy, or was your husband like, why are you taking all this home with you?
I didn't care.
Heaviness.
I didn't get into the people. No. And if they did, then
Like you had your friends.
They were like, what are you doing,
My
Diane?
friends were interested. My friends became interested when when I became more learned and all. They became interested, and they wanted to know. And I used to always share with them.
Is there any common thread that you feel like since you've been practicing over the years, you've seen time and time again, or anything you've been noticing throughout your clients?
Absolutely. Love.
Interesting. Expand.
Love is a universal emotion. No one could have enough love in this world. Nobody. Did you ever tell someone, "Oh, that's enough love. I had enough"? No.
Well, me, yeah.
It's a bottomless pit.
No, but sometimes you're like, I need a minute.
No, not space, but love.
Okay,
it's
I'm
different between
talking
love and
about. I'm not
space.
That's
talking
why I wanna
about
expand on
space.
this.
Interesting.
Space, I agree with you.
Diane
But
thing.
I'm talking about the feeling of being loved.
No,
The
you're right.
feeling of being loved.
Secure.
The feeling that I'm worth being loved.
Cherished.
That I'm worth it. That someone loves me for who I am. It's a basic human need
And
that
then
we're
you see
born
the
with.
issues root down to that. Like it's always
Yes.
some form of.
Yeah, because, that's the world. We could never get enough of it. Could you ever get enough of your mother's attention? You could never get enough love. And it's okay, because then we grow, and then we could begin to give ourselves what we need. So we could begin to, give ourselves love, self-love, not in a narcissistic or a, self-absorbed way, but healthy.
What
But
are
like-
some ways that you give self-love?
By feeling good about yourself, by accomplishing things in your life, by being proud of things, of your family, of what you've accomplished, of yourself, of who you are, and knowing that you're not perfect. That's
Grace,
Love
giving
that.
yourself that grace. Yeah.
By the way, that is a very big thing, I think, in our community.
Especially now.
Perfectionism?
Oh, we talk about this
Yes.
all the time.
It's a very hot.
Especially
That is
a
a
hot topic for
very,
me.
very serious
Yes.
is.
issue. And
Could you expand on that a little bit?
perfectionism? I think it's an impossible task. I think that the more you reach for perfectionism, the more you will want to reach for perfect, and you will never, there's no end.
It's never enough.
There's no top to the mountain. You're climbing and climbing. There's a very good book, by the way, I should say.
What is it, please?
It's called No Hope for Flowers, or For the Flowers.
Okay.
And it's a child's book, but it's an adult's book. It's a yellow book, and it has caterpillars and butterflies on the cover, and it's about these caterpillars that are trying to climb the mountain, and they're shoving and they're pushing and they're doing everything to get to the top. And the wife, the woman, the female caterpillar says, "No, I want to go down. Let's just go down. Let's stop climbing. Let's go down." And the male goes, "No, I want to get to the top. I want to get to the top." And she just says, "I'm just going down." She goes down, and she goes through metamorphosis, which is nature. She lets nature take its course, and she becomes a beautiful butterfly. And she's flying around the mountain, and she sees the male, and she catches his eye, and she's saying, "Come down. This is the answer. Come down. There's no end to climbing.
Wow.
Wow.
Come down and let nature take its course. We have everything in us to be the best that we could be. God has infused everything in us. It's like a cake. You have all the ingredients in us.
He just wanted to become the butterfly, and his intentions were
yeah.
correct, but I guess
He couldn't. Because he wanted to get to the top. He wanted to be perfect.
You're working with so many women in the community, so many groups. You see it like a lot. What's some advice you have for our practical tips for our age group demographic? New moms.
I could give you one tip. There's a lot, but
Yes,
I'll give you two basic tips. Eye language. How do I talk to a person and have a conversation where they're still with me? You know.
because you could tell when somebody's
Because if I'm going to do you and bland, they're going to leave.
You and always and never.
They'll still be here, but
check out.
So I don't want that. I want to be present with my relationships. So the eye language is very important. Be aware of when you want to tell a person how you feel. Say I'm angry. You did something and I got angry. The more productive way to say it is, I felt angry when this and this happened, or when you even said this and this. It really hurt my feelings. Versus, you always do that. When you do that, you do that all the time, and that ain't going to get us anywhere.
It's so hard. The ego gets in the way.
It's so true. But remember.
You hurt my feelings. It's like such a...
That's right. You hurt my feelings. You always do that to me. It's not going to get us anywhere productively. Ever. Another thing is, if you don't have anything productive to say, don't say anything.
Expand, please.
In other words, if I'm talking to you and I'm feeling something and I blurt it out, if it's not productive, it's going to come between our relationship.
And you can't take it back.
Think, is what I'm going to say productive to the relationship? If it is, then go ahead and say it. And there's also different types of relationships. If it's my husband and I have to live with him, I'm going to try to use more eye language and say how I feel, and but if it's an acquaintance that did something, I may not want to say anything.
Worth it.
Yeah, because then you have to.
It doesn't mean anything. It's
so
not
I feel
that
like you
important.
have that. You're
I'm very like that.
Smart with your words.
Really?
Very.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very, you don't act at, like, you don't shoot from the hip.
Because I guess what you're saying.
Right. I agree with you, Diane.
And I learned a lot from that because,
thank you.
Yes. I was watching and learning.
I learned from Grandma.
Well, I don't know about that, but you have it.
Even to what you were saying before about being a role model and being a mom and being grandma, like, I feel like from having you in my life, going back to school, doing all these things, it just makes everyone in our family feel capable. So it's very important to do that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very inspiring.
That's you did. I'm done after that. I'm good.
No, but it's still living on, and especially women. I mean, men always feel powerful, good for them, and they always feel like they could do everything because life.
Right.
But I think it's so nice when you inspired your granddaughters to feel like, oh, my grandma did something. Like, you're only going to feel support from here on out. If
I
you
don't
could
have
do
to be
it, I could do it.
Yeah.
You're breaking boundaries.
Right. I'm understood.
Exactly.
Also, in therapy, a very important thing is to be understood. What do you do in therapy? You sit there and you talk. But a good therapist will make you feel like you're understood, and that, I'm not crazy. I feel understood. I'm okay. We all want to be okay. Just okay. We don't have to be great. Also, motherhood. Another tip.
Give us
another
tips.
tip. As mothers, we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be good enough.
That's very hard.
No, it's not.
For women especially, it was great when you decided to go back to college, and it was great when you started to invest in yourself, but you mentioned that nothing in your life dipped. Not your friendships, not your holidays, not your kids. I feel like that is somewhat the root of perfectionism, at least for me, because I feel like if I'm going to take time for myself and work, everything in my life has to be perfect so that I can do what I want to do whilst, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, no shoes could drop.
Yeah, right. So I didn't have to get 100 on every test in school. I didn't have to be that. I just enjoyed being there and learning. I wasn't the top student. It didn't matter. I wasn't the top mother either. I made mistakes. I said the wrong things, but it's fine. When a child or a person is damaged, it's usually from early on, and it has to be over and over and over and over again. If we, trip once, twice, 10 times, it's okay. It's fine. It actually is good lesson because, this way our kids, they know, they see us falling and coming back. It's about being resilient in life. We're going to fall, but as long as we don't stay down there that long, when you grow and you learn and you grow and you learn about yourself, we don't have to be down there. We don't have to fall in. We could fall into the hole, but we don't have to stay there as long.
Also, when Grandma was making the Rosh Hashanah and stuff, she wasn't posting a picture of her stunning table on Instagram.
Yeah. No,
she's not doing she's not doing the placemat with the matching napkin with the
everybody's personal name card and the apple.
No, that's exact. That you don't have to be perfect.
But it's my fault if the kid comes out messed up. I'm the one who's supposed to impart the wisdom.
Enough.
They're going to complain about you in therapy anyway.
If
you're there, if you're not there. She was home too much. She was out too much. She did this.
Right.
My mom says that all the time.
Yeah.
Where it's you can never win. But I think that's also when you said back to disappointments. I think I learned that very early on. I expected my parents to be these perfect people all the time because they're my parents.
Right.
And I think that was a very high expectation to put on them because they're learning the same way I was. I was the oldest.
True.
So they were still just
they
figuring
have
it
their
out.
own baggage that they're working
exactly.
on. You know what I'm saying? Forever.
So I think I'm still learning how to detach that. You have to be perfect. Give them that space and that connection.
Try to be aware of it. It's all awareness. You don't have to do anything different. Only watch it. Just watch. And then you have a choice. If I have to lose weight and I try and I'm not going to do it. But if I watch what I'm eating junk, then I have a choice. So watch your behavior, kind of come out of your own body and watch how you act, how you behave, what you said, what was productive, what wasn't productive. And then remember choice. Choice is key. Carl Jung's theory, it's called the dark side. Every human being has a dark side, something that they don't love about themselves, whatever it may be. I'm ashamed of, or I'm embarrassed, or I don't like. It's natural. If I don't like it and I try to fight it, it's going to come out
worse,
stronger. So if I say, I'm a perfectionist and I want everything perfect and I want to whatever, jealous, or I'm whatever it is, whatever dark side. Everyone has another dark side, and it's fine. If I acknowledge it, if I say it's okay, I get it, quiet down now, then it quiets down. But if I say, I don't like it, I wish I wasn't like that, I'm so stupid,
you're giving it so much energy.
So dumb,
Yeah.
Acknowledge it, be okay with it, and then it'll be okay, and you could move on.
So once you did the group therapy, then you started working with Mars Franco Cancer Center. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So I had my practice and my group therapy and etc. And then around COVID time, a friend of mine who used to counsel at the cancer center was retiring from that job. And she called me and she asked me, would I be interested in working in the Mars Franco Cancer Center? And I said, yeah, I would think about it. Yeah, Yes, I was interested because it's not an easy job.
No.
And not everybody could do it because, you're watching people that are not well. Some of them make it, some of them don't. You develop a relationship with them. It's hard, but it's very gratifying because, you're helping them. You're helping them talk. They could release whatever's on their mind. You're objective. You're listening. You're a caring person. You're a caring ear. I'm here to support you. There's nothing like the Mars Franco Cancer Center. They are an amazing institution, I have to tell you. What they do is not normal.
Yeah.
What they do is amazing. The volunteers, unbelievable. Nancy, awesome. They're just We're blessed.
We are.
We're blessed. I mean, everybody should be well, please God, and throughout their life. But things happen,
You're there for
and
people
they're there,
in their
and
tough
you're
times.
never alone. We don't ever want to feel alone. Period. When we're needy, you're never alone there ever. So I love it. It's great. I feel that I've learned a lot.
You're helping people. You're filling
I
your
know
cup.
it's not easy, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "Oh, how could you do it? I could never." I don't know.
Hashem gave you a gift.
That
I
was
don't-
yeah.
I
That
don't
was
know.
the
I'm
reason that
okay.
you're okay with it because you
I'm-
were there
I'm
to
okay.
help, and you were
Yeah.
that's your.
I went through a lot also.
That's what I wanted
because
to
I'm
ask
the
you.
youngest, so I went through a lot. I saw my family get older. I saw many of them pass. So I went through a lot.
You've been through ups and downs. How'd you say
Yeah.
resilient through it all?
It's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. We're human. So it's when you love someone and then you lose them constantly, it's hard. But you have to move on.
Yeah.
You have to move on. You have to not stop living. You have to keep your interests. Of course, your faith. I don't have to say anything. I don't want to get into religion.
Oh,
but your
can we say
faith-
that story?
Which one?
You and your friends, you started to learn
Yeah.
before learning was common. Classes.
Oh, wow. You
I
want
would
to do
love
that?
to
hear that.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh. Another part of my life, very, very important part of my life. So after 9/11, I think I was practicing already. When was 9/11? 2001? Maybe I wasn't practicing yet. Anyway, 9/11 happened, and I was very friendly with my friend, my very good friend, may she rest in peace, Audrey Levy. And so we were driving. She wasn't well, and we were very close. She was awesome. And we were driving on the...
The Bell Parkway Expressway.
Maybe the Belt Park Expressway, right. And we're looking across, and we see it was still flaming. It was not flaming, but it was
Smoke?
Smoke, and you see, and I'm looking and I'm saying, you know what, Audrey, I'd love to learn how to pray. I went to yeshiva till the 3rd grade, but I didn't know. I really could. I could
Yeah.
read, but I don't understand it. I never learned how to pray. So I said, I really want to learn how to pray. She says, oh, I know someone that gives very good classes, Ricky Cohen. You want me to call him? I said, no, I'll call him. So I went home that night and I called him, and he was so gracious. He said, of course I'll give you. So we had like maybe 4 or 5 girls, my friends, my immediate friends. We're going to learn how to pray. So he gives us, we start on a Wednesday, 45 minutes. We're going to learn how to do the blessings of the morning. And he goes through every blessing. He was awesome. What happened? It grew. It grew. First of all, the group grew. In the end of the day, I'm not going to give you all the details of all the years, but in the end of the day, we were 20. We went on 4 trips to Israel together
Wow.
with Ricky and his wife. We learned Shemuel Aleph, Shemuel Bet. We learned the parashas. We learned how to pray. We learned.
Unreal.
And they weren't learning classes
and-
at this
and-
time.
Yeah, this is not
No,
like
this is
today's
before.
gen.
Like
This
now,
is-
everyone has a class.
Yeah.
This wasn't
No,
like
now
this is
learning is the
before.
fashion,
Wow.
but
I'm
this is
telling you,
definitely not.
Vivian
the
Hillary
time.
was in our class. Her
Wow.
mother, Flora Tao, and we got so close. We became a group.
Yeah.
That's very
Every
special.
single day we met. We learned once a week for 45 minutes. Ended up, we learned Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We even learned a little on Friday. We used to go Shabbat after to shul, and then I used to come home, give them lunch, and then go to the class. In the winter, 3:30. I used to leave. They were still on the table. I needed to go to class,
Wow.
and it was the best, one of the best times of my life to learn Torah.
Did you had like the
nothing
what's
better.
it called? Like the double, like no,
The dual
Like,
curriculum.
it was like what's it called? The weapon, like
Yeah.
the best thing. Like you had psychology,
The best of both worlds.
yeah, and then you had Torah. So like you could really,
yeah.
it's like the ultimate superpower.
It's true, but it confirms the psychology because everything's in the Torah.
Yeah.
So whatever I learned, I said, "Oh my gosh,
Wow.
here it is." So I felt good.
That's
I felt,
unreal.
So
And your
that's
brain
my
is
life.
always ticking. You're always a thirst for knowledge. I can tell.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grandma, for coming. You were always
Okay.
learning, always like bulldozing through your life, and I feel like you're really an example to me, now Diane, and everyone
Definitely
watching
me.
this. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
everything.
Thank you for having me. I
Thank you for
enjoyed
being
it.
here.
I met Diane.
Thank you so
We have
much.
a lot in common.
Diane.
The 2 Dianes. And Flo, you're amazing. And
you.
thank you for having us.
Of course.
Thank you. Really, thank
Yeah,
you.
you.
really. Okay.
And let's get that group together.